Is it bad that this is kind of the Bruins team that I expected us to field? Bruins lose 6-5 to the Vegas Golden Knights. Welcome back down into the den, everybody. Now this episode is actually going to start with a trigger warning, because we have to discuss the elephant in the room with Vegas. That being Carter Hart. So, if you are uncomfortable with discussions of sexual assault, I recommend that you skip ahead to this timestamp so that you can enjoy the rest of this video. Carter Hart, he was for a while the goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers. He was a pretty decent goalie. I loved joking about whenever he would suck ass, because he would frequently suck ass, especially against the Bruins. But his time on the Flyers is neither here nor there. We need to talk about his time with Team Canada's World Juniors team with regards to 2018. Of this team, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Michael McLeod, and Alex Formenton were implicated in a sexual assault crime against a woman known only as EM. The story goes that EM was very drunk, past the limit for whether or not someone can legally consent, and these 5 players took her up to a hotel room and raped her. I'm not using any of the stupid grape or unalive terminology. This stuff is serious. It deserves to be talked about with the terminology that it is. There's a bunch else that goes into this. Brett Howden was a part of this, who had invited others up to the room to try to get some action, and he conveniently forgot. But what the judge ended up finding was that EM's evidence was not credible or reliable, and so all 5 players were acquitted. They should not have been acquitted. Admittedly, justice primarily exists to protect capital, and so I am not surprised that this verdict ended up being not guilty. That does not mean that these 5 men are not guilty. Justice does not always prevail. We see it all the time in America. It happens in Canada as well. It happens in Sweden, it happens in Finland, it happens in Russia. Do you remember Valerie Nichushkin? It happens everywhere. Because not only are people fallible, and judges can make wrong verdicts based on not considering particular pieces of evidence, justice departments largely exist to protect capital and institutions. I think it's important to, at the very least, take this verdict with a grain of salt, and at the very most, take it with the entire shaker. Just because someone is found not guilty doesn't mean that they are not guilty. Wrongful convictions happen all the fucking time. And as for Carter Hart, he, alongside Dubé, Foote, McLeod, and Formenton, were all reinstated into the NHL. And the reason why we're talking about this now is because the Vegas Golden Knights actually signed Carter Hart to their active roster yesterday. You know that you've made a morally dubious, at the very best, signing when you have to put out a statement justifying said signing. Here, this is the statement from the Vegas Golden Knights. Following the reinstatement decision agreed on by the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association, goaltender Carter Hart would be joining the Vegas Golden Knights organization. The Golden Knights are aligned with the process and assessment in the NHL and the NHLPA made in their decision. We remain committed to the core values that have defined our organization from its inception and expect that our players will continue to meet these standards moving forward. So if you didn't understand that, here's basically what that means. Go fuck yourself. And essentially, that's what their players are saying as well. Jack Eichel said, when you speak to the players who know Carter, they have a lot of good things to say about his character and who he is as a person. We're really looking forward to having him and moving forward. And Captain Mark Stone says, exciting, good goalie. Excited to welcome him to the culture of the Golden Knights. Here's the thing. I've seen this happen a lot. And you know what always happens with it is this insistence that they've learned a lot, they've grown, and a lot of the times it just ends up being tantamount to, I'm glad that I didn't face any consequences. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, what do you want from him? I want him to never play in the NHL ever again. And if you think that that's extreme, consider how much money he's made. Carter Hart, before his contract was voided, was on track to make $12 million in his NHL career. You know what you can do with $12 million? You can live out the rest of your life comfortably. Or you know what else? You can make A New Hope. You can make Star Wars A New Hope circa 1974 and still have $1 million left over. Before you ask any clearly leading questions about, do you want his life to be over? Understand how much money people are earning in the NHL. 8 figures is more money than you and I will ever make in our lifetime. And I sincerely need you to recognize that. I'm drawing the blind. Sun coming in was really frustrating. And more than anything, this casts a really, really dark shadow on the whole hockey is for everyone thing. And for what it's worth, that has had a negative shadow cast on it since its inception. Pride tape got banned. People made so much of a fuss about Pride jerseys that now no fun jerseys are allowed on the ice during warm-ups. Hockey is clearly not for everyone. And honestly, I might make a longer form video about the insane shit that sports leagues allow to get through their ranks. But God forbid you let a rainbow flag fly anywhere. God forbid you allow a woman on the sidelines. I want to end this long-winded rant with a little bit of a statement, and then we'll get into the actual hockey. This channel is going to be a safe space for everybody. I don't care about your politics. I might make a video about politics and sports eventually, but right now, I don't care about your politics. I care about fostering a community that people feel safe to be in. And maybe to you, that might end up being hostile because you can't say certain words. Cool. If you're frustrated that you can't say certain words, then maybe you should look into why it's frowned upon to say those words. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm perfect. God knows that I'm not. God knows that nobody is. But at the same time, I think that in the wake of this, the best thing that someone can do is just extend a hand of safety and respect for people. Respect for someone's dignity, because that's essentially what was happened. EM was stripped of her fucking dignity. She bore her heart out to the justice system, and it failed her. It failed her by doing exactly what it was intended to do, i.e. protect people in power. And that's not the type of community that I want to foster. I want to protect people. I don't want to protect corporations. You're all my people. Alright, let's actually talk about some hockey. I brought Macklin up from the background over there because, yeah, we lost to Vegas. Admittedly, before everything happened, I was ambivalent towards the outcome of this game, but then I was like, oh, Boston, you need to whoop their asses. And for what it's worth, the Bruins kind of did. But wait, didn't they lose? Yes, they did. The Bruins whooped Vegas' ass on 5-on-5. It's just a shame that our special teams are complete dog water. First time this season. Ah, don't worry, you'll get used to it. I had the entirety of last season to get used to it. I'll be fine, Macklin. I don't think they're gonna be fine. I'll be fine! Yeah, our penalty kill? Awful. McAvoy, why are you still on the top power play unit? A really, really bad giveaway. Admittedly, this giveaway was more so Casey Mittelstadt. This pass was just... You could not telegraph that more. This is like Ganondorf's Warlock Punch with how much wind-up it had. This was awful. This was such a bad game from this team on the power play and on the penalty kill. But admittedly, this team did really well, all things considered. But oh my god, this power play... It's turbo shit. It's turbo shit. It's already at a point where we're having trouble getting the puck into the zone. And I keep thinking that, oh, this team is dangerous when they have the puck in the opponent's... They're not. They're really not. You know who stepped up the most in this though? The third line. Jeannot, Eyssimont, Minten. Not so much Minten. More so Jeannot and Eyssimont. Amazing. Incredible games from both of them. And Jeannot, with the first goal, oh Oh, it was so good. Just shoving Zach Whitecloud out of the way and getting a perfect tip in. Like, this is what people were talking about when people said Jeannot has net front presence. And I think, honestly, being the main net front guy on the Bruins is definitely going to be what it makes him a fan favorite on this roster. Like, there are times when the Bruins have trouble getting pucks to the net, but if there's one thing that this team has in the recent years had more trouble with than getting pucks to the net, it's getting pucks in the net when they are to the net. We didn't have any, like, prominent net crashers for, like, 3 years. Like, the closest that we had was James Van Riemsdyk and maybe Nick Foligno. And those are okay net crashers. I don't know necessarily if you'd call them some of the best. Jeannot? Oh, he's so good. He's so good in front of the net. Rest of the team, Pastrnak with a really, really critical goal for him. He just watches as the seas part, and it just gives him the narrowest of windows to snipe one in. And he needed that. He needed that goal. He really needed that goal. And I think this is going to be another good year for him, but a little bit of a slow start. And speaking of slow start, Geekie. Geekie did not have a great game. In fact, Geekie had such a bad game that I could honestly see him being demoted to the second line. Get Zacha up on the first line. See, this year right now, this year is the year for experimentation. Throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. What is not sticking is our defense in front of Swayman. Swayman, amazing night. Truly, honestly, a really good night. And it's so good to see that he has his swagger back. And I know that that's weird to say for a goalie that allowed 6 goals. Let's be real. Swayman didn't allow 6 goals. The penalty kill allowed 2 of those goals. Our team right now has the basic composition of someone who only does arm day and maybe core day. The dude looks jacked. Until you look at the bottom of him, and he's got like chicken legs. Hopefully we get some of that back with Lindholm coming back soon. He's supposed to be out for just a little bit longer. Admittedly, I kind of don't want to see him back until we're back in Boston. For the sole selfish reason of I don't want him to come back too early and re-injure something. When he comes back, this defense is gonna feel good as new. And that's really it. Vegas admittedly had a couple of scary moments. Eichel took a shot right to the face, and it took him out for the rest of the second period. And he ended up coming back on in the third, so he's fine. So more power to him. And Mark Stone with a collision right into the end board. It looked like his nose was a little bit fucked up. Who knows how long he's going to spend in the infirmary. We might see him on LTIR until the playoffs yet again. A good chunk of this season is going to be about process over results. In fact, I have an entire video planned about one of the premier examples of process versus results. Well, it's in the works right now. Should be up by next week. But in any case, this definitely was a game that is supposed to be process over results, and then in Vegas sent Carter Hart, and I'm like, screw the process. I need to see Boston bury this team. And then the Bruins ended up getting buried because our penalty kill is about as effective as using this tiny plastic trash can to clean up all the microplastics in the ocean. We got Colorado on Saturday, and we got Utah on Monday, which are both teams that I'm fine with being process games, especially because it feels like for Utah, that's also going to be a process game for them. It's gonna feel like 2 practice squads going against each other. It's gonna be fun. But in any case, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Take care.